So today we're taking a look at the 10 scale models I-18 bay window caboose, and this is a Chessie System B&O, Baltimore in Ohio. So let's go take a look on this end. So here we have the road number, a marker light, as well as a ladder on the side, a brake wheel, some red reflective lenses, and a key for the draft gear. On the inside there's a door with a screen window, another window on the side, as well as some grab irons that are curving down. There also are some bars in the front. They also have an airline hose at the bottom, some more grab irons on the edge, and the steps are orange. And one thing I wasn't expecting was the walkways, they're actually see-through, so that's pretty cool, including the steps. And here's what it looks like from this whole side of the car. So here in the front we have Chessie System, some really tiny text at the bottom and the top, the side marker lights, some etched metal screen windows, a really curvy grab iron, and the bogey below. The etched metal windows are actually transparent, although it's kind of hard to see. Moving along to the middle, here we have the bay window. So it says Baltimore in Ohio at the top, B&O, the road number, and this window here in the middle with some screens on the side. And this window is fully transparent, so you can see it from the other side. And there are two additional windows on the edges of this bay. We also got on the bottom, you can see that underside detailing, some printed text down there. Now moving along to the end of the car, here we have the Chessie logo. Now if you guys don't know what this is, can you tell that it's supposed to be a sleeping kitten? Then underneath we have this yellow patch. It's actually a different color. Some car information, little printed text, and the same things from the other side. Now here's what it looks like on the opposite end. Now this side also has a brake wheel, which actually was surprising since this car has two brake wheels, but that makes sense since it's a caboose. And it looks pretty much identical to the other end, so not really much differences here. So here's how it looks like on this side. There is more windows over here with 3 at the top. The bottom also has some different underside detail. One of them's like a toilet box. Then we have this tiny little window on this side, Chessie logo, and the others are the same. Now for the roof, here's how it looks like. There's this nice pattern of grooves at the top, and there's a nice walkway connects to the ladder, and it is very finely detailed. And there also is this chimney piece. It's actually hollow, so you can see through it from the side. And diagonally across there is this metallic vent also. Here's the roof dead on, and you can clearly see through the walkways. Pretty nice. And on the bottom, they have actually a crazy amount of detail with air brake systems. So I was actually surprised on just how small cabooses are. It is about as long as a 40-foot container, but it does weigh quite a bit for its size. And here's how they compare with a standard boxcar and a high cube boxcar. So really, it is really short. And here's how it compares to a Jiva locomotive. Now, I guess if it actually had the additional height that the stereotypical caboose has, maybe it wouldn't seem so short. But I did see a bay caboose at Oak Point Yard, so I wanted to get this one. Modern day freight trains don't really use cabooses, but they are still used occasionally. So this is the Kadee coupler height gauge to make sure all your coupler heights are correct. So in the last video, this Atlas flat car was always derailing, and apparently on one side this coupler height is too low. So I disassembled it, and apparently the coupler is actually 2 pieces. The Kadee coupler height gauge also comes with these washers, so I just added one inside, and that actually fixed the problem. Now the trip pin doesn't hit the bar below. So this is the NMRA, National Model Railroad Association standards gauge. You can use this to make sure all your wheel sets are correct, and they have a diagram over here. And I got this just in case the coupler height wasn't the problem. So this is the Kadee trip pin pliers, and you can use this to adjust the trip pins, the little metal piece underneath. Kind of looks like an air hose to the correct height. So a cool interactive feature are the end marker lights, which you can activate using the wand. And you can also do this on the other side, and the light, it does do a little pulsating. And the side also has a yellow marker light. Though the light is kind of dim, if you turn on the lights in your room, you cannot even tell if it's on. It is barely present. Alright, so for my final thoughts, I think these tangent scale model Chessie System bay window cabooses are really nice to have. They're highly detailed, especially like their underbody. I like the Chessie System color scheme and their logo. Modern day freight trains don't often use cabooses, but they do still exist and they operate occasionally, so you will still see them. Although the Chessie ones, they have like a different logo. I actually wanted to get one in Conrail's game, but they don't really have that I've seen in CSX Oak Point Yard when I went rail fanning. But this is the closest to it. I think the idea of the marker lights are really cool, but I think the lights are just too dim. They really need to make it brighter and then it'll pop out a lot more. Supposedly there's supposed to be interior lighting, but I'm not sure if I got it. I just imagine if it had proper lighting, it would look so much better. Rollability wise, it doesn't roll that great, but it's not like it derails or anything. It does have some substantial weight to it, and it is engaged to NMRA standards. As for the Kadee coupler height gauge, that is a really cool tool. I've seen it used in many train videos on YouTube, but it's really simple to assemble and it's a really nice tool to make sure those trip pins aren't too low. As for the other tools, the NMRA standards gauge, that was a little bit bent, but it is another tool you can use to make sure everything's engaged. And for the Kadee trip pin pliers, I use it to adjust my BNSF ST70 ACE from Mathern. Its trip pin would sag down half the time and get caught in that 90-degree crossing, which is kind of frustrating sometimes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Finally, we got a caboose. It is an essential train icon to have one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, make sure you hit that like button down below, subscribe if you hadn't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.